Good evening, everyone. PB Corn Live is proud to present to you the young guns of Indian hairdressing. I'm Kanishka, the editor of Professional Beauty India, and it gives me great pleasure to bring to you this panel. Today, we will be discussing the importance of participating in hair competitions for young talent and how to go about it. This is part of our idea of bringing a new perspective on young talent in hairdressing in India. So we have got with us two talented hairdressers, young hairdressers, and two influential mentors who are going to help us understand the whole thing about participating in hair competitions, what it entails, and how to go about it. So before we start, I would like to introduce you to my panel today. So we have with us Vaishali Shah, who is the head of LTA School of Beauty, along with Shireen Merchant, the creative director of Cut and Make Salon. These two are joining us as mentors. They will be presenting to you their ideas on how to mentor young talent, how to identify them. Along with them, we have Nikisha Bhatia Agarwal, the academic director of Shams Salon Spa Academy and head trainer of Mud India. And joining her is Mayank Bilal, stylist and trainer at Nalini of Nalini and Yasmin Salon. Welcome on board, panelists. It's lovely to have you here, and thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you for inviting us, Kanishka.
Great. So, as I had just mentioned, the session for today is all about encouraging young talent to participate in hairdressing competitions. So, before we get into the nitty gritty of understanding how to prepare yourself, I would like to know from you, why is it important to participate in competitions? Vaishali, can we start from you? I would like to clarify that Vaishali, due to some technical issues, Vaishali is going to be with us only through audio and not through video. Vaishali, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Kanishka.
Thank you so much for joining us, Vaishali. I would like you to take the first question on why hair competitions are important.
Okay, so I strongly believe that a hair competition, or for that matter, any competition in the skilling space, is important. One, brings you to a perfection. So you try working on yourself to get perfect in something. Second, it's a big learning experience, because when you go to compete, you just don't compete. You come back with learnings, and those learnings help you to make, your career better. And most important, that if our youth starts getting into competitions, then they also become our inspiration for the new generations to get in there. So there are ideal, I mean, I would say there are ideals. They are that inspiration for the new generations there. So for me, competition is important for these three reasons.
Right. Shireen, would you like to add to that?
Yes, so I think Vaishali is right for the fact that it helps you grow, in all dimensions, and helps you to reach to that level of perfection. So it's like a total growth. Like, even if you are looking at a different canvas of competition, it could be a beauty pageant as a competition, it could be a hair, category, or a makeup category. So whichever category or whichever canvas you're using as competition, but what it brings in you is the totality of growth as an individual in your own self, because you're mentally becoming more strong. You're learning to handle stress, because competition floor is about handling so much of stress at that point in time.
Right.
Being organized, so developing organizational skills, managing time. So time management, how in the 35 minutes of that time period that you have to compete, how do you need to strategically work time by time, like 10 minutes dedicated to this particular part of the hairstyle, another 20 minutes, I need to finish my hairstyle, another last 5 minutes I need for brushing up and finishing and overlooking it. So time
Yeah.
management, it teaches you, it makes you mentally strong, it improves on your skill work. So you are growing in totality as a person, and it actually helps you face life as a better individual, as a stronger individual. So competition is just one canvas, but it actually prepares you for life. So that's why I think competition molds you, grills you, and drills you, and makes you a stronger person.
Absolutely. And Nikisha, what are your thoughts on this?
I think Shireen's summary answer gave all the all the important notes. I totally agree with her, because the best part is both the mentors today who are live with us, both Vaishali and Shireen ji, have been my judges in both national and international competitions. And there was a point when I started being in the jury with them while I am judging the competitors. So it's a journey, and this can only happen when you are ready to make that mistake or jump into that ocean of competitions. Something like that can only come to you when you are there to make that step one, that is entering a competition. You lose or you win. Sometimes you may not win. I really want to put this forward. Sometimes you may not win, but that work piece that you have created in those 30 minutes or 20 minutes, if even a single judge looks back at that look and stops, pauses, and looks at it for 5 minutes, that is it. You have been registered in her mind. She's not going to forget you ever. And maybe next time you will be on her target list. So it is very important to at least take that leap of faith, jump into a competition, and leave it all rest to the grace.
Right. Mayank, what would you like to add to this?
So firstly, I would say is see, it's all about test. एक साल की मेहनत एक कंपटीशन में पता चलता है कि कितना मेहनत किया है या कितना सीखा है, right? And second thing, I would say it's all about confident, how confident you are, and you have to come out of the comfort zone. क्योंकि salon के floor में five stylists या six stylists या eight stylists, salon के floor में वो जो level of confidence होता है वो अलग होता है, वो experience अलग होता है, but कंपटीशन जो फ्लोर पे मिलता है, जो शोज में मिलता है, वो अलग ही एक्सपीरियंस देता है सभी को. तो मेरे हिसाब से इट्स ऑल अबाउट कमिंग आउट ऑफ योर कंफर्ट जोन एंड देन वर्किंग ऑन इट. Then I would say is it's all based on it's basically it's a skill based thing. इसमें you can't cheat, you can't do anything. It's fully based on skill. So yeah, so it's talent based thing. That's it, I would say.
Right. So talent and skill and this need to challenge yourself is what should drive you when you enter a competition. Shireen, as a mentor, how do you go about identifying young talent? If there is, a young hand on floor, what are the parameters that they need to fulfill for them to be able to go for a competition?
So for me, I think looking from a judging point of view, since I've been on the panel of judges for World Skills, when we at the initial stages, when we are looking at talent, because they have this whole thing of a year's time where they need to still prepare and keep getting better and keep moving on from one leg to the other leg of the competition. And, there's a lot of training that happens along the way. So when we see them as raw talent at the initial phase, it's not just about that final product that they're delivering on the competition floor that I would judge that child for. But there are a lot of internal qualities that I would look out for in that person. Is this person an open and blank canvas on which anything can be written? Is this person I know kind of a person, or is this person open with any barriers for learning? Just accepting of any knowledge that comes their way. And are they ready to rewrite and relearn things? These are the very important criteria for me, along with definitely the skill that person needs to have to begin with, the interest the person needs to have to begin with. But these are the very important factors which will take that child a long way and make that child a true winner. Because if we have these mental blocks of I know and all of these, then we are not able to absorb any further information. And as judges or as mentors, it becomes so much more difficult to rewrite it on that paper, which is already written. So a person having the right attitude towards competition is the true candidate for me.
Vaishali, what about you? Who is the right candidate for you?
Yeah, so I would want to add on to Shireen. I'm sure we will not have too many different points coming from a similar background at the moment. Yeah, so for me, attitude forms the number one quality that I really want to look in for a candidate. An attitude to learn, an attitude of humility. The person should, and gratitude also for that matter. They should be thankful to what they get. That's the first quality I look for, because if they have this attitude, we can definitely train. To put a skill in a person is not difficult, but we can't put an attitude in a person for sure. The second thing which I really want to really look for is the eye for detailing. Even if a person hasn't done very well in the competition floor, but did he or she have an eye for detailing, or was just trying to finish up or just trying to copy something what the person could not have done? How detailed the person went into, what was the finesse the person built in, is something which I really would think is an important point. One more important thing when we talk about competition, because it can be national or international, the pressure on the floor is a lot to handle. And
Yeah.
we're talking about the young talent, young minds who are going to handle this pressure. They don't have an experience of life to handle pressure. So for them, these might be, except for the 10th board or the 12th boards, I don't think any other pressure of life you will compare in the competition there for these young talent. So you
Yeah.
should be able to handle pressure on the floor. That's something which we look for. So if they are panicking, if a situation develops, can they think through? Even if they thought through wrong, it's okay, but can they think through? It's something that we really want to look for. And definitely an inner passion to win, because I can't go to a competition and say, you know what, I just went for an experience. I'm sorry. I think that will cost the country a lot sometimes, yeah, most of the
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
they should have an inner passion to win. So they should have a passion for that skill which they're representing. So these are the few things that I think I look for the candidates when we do our selections for world skills.
Right. Mayank, what are your parameters that you take into account before entering a competition?
Before, can you come again? I'm so sorry.
What are your parameters that you keep in mind before entering a competition?
So basically, I would say is it's all about you need to firstly be confident about what you do,
Okay.
and then when it comes to competitions, you also need to make sure that your work. I mean, there's so many points that you need to actually figure out what are you going to actually do, what sort of a category you fall in, and what category do you choose when it comes to that, and then I would say is sorry, I'm just like need to be dedicated again to do what I mean. I'm so sorry, it's just being a little nervous. Yeah, so you need to be
No, no
dedicated
worries.
about what you need, what you're working on again, and it's all about confidence, how confident you are, and don't be demotivated. Because it may be the first time. Because when I participated for the first time, I the first thing which I did was I asked my mentor, I asked my senior, I asked my teacher, as my guru, what to do, how to do. Because when it comes to competition, the first time I was competing, I don't know. I mean, didn't know anything about it. So I asked people who actually experienced this entire thing. So they explained me in detail how and what are the points you need to actually focus on. It's not just the work. It's even there's so many details in it. There's model, there is your work, the color, the mood board. There's so many points which has to be. So I would say the first thing which I would do is just go and talk to a senior most person who has experienced this, and then I would get the point. Then I would get so many points.
Right. So those are valid parameters that we should be looking at, and we'll dwell into that a little more. I'll come to Nikisha now. What are your uh, factors that you take in consideration before entering a competition?
Before I enter a competition,
Yes.
yeah, okay. So before entering a competition, I think the first and foremost thing that I have always looked for, and that's how I also have been guiding further, is to understand what is your strong suit. Basically, I think that is the most basic thing to do. That what is your strong suit? Is it
Okay.
hair? Is it hair up? Is it hair color? Is it makeup? Whatever is your strong suit, you jump into that because you already have that confidence, and you can now dive into it to explore further what's there in it for you. Or I mean,
Yeah.
you might end up creating something amazing, or you might watch somebody do something amazing, but because it is your strong suit, because it is your category, you will have better control and better understanding. So knowing the category that you're jumping in for, and second is, I always say, knowing which competition it is. Is it a brand that has organized this competition? Is it a company, like is it L'Oreal's competition? Is it TG competition? or is it a normal, like not normal, but like a national competition where there are jury panels? So if
Yeah.
it is a particular brand, I would say that you need to process the style of the brand. For example, if it is TG that I'm competing for, I cannot go and do a very clean, finessed, sweet, glossy look, because that's not the style of the brand. That's
Yeah.
not how they connect to it. They are more edgy, they are more, cutting edge, more textured looks. So even if you've done a simple textured look, bang on, because you are in the right place and you're doing the right thing. So that's like playing smart.
Yeah.
So I think these are the aspects.
You have also started mentoring now, and like you said, you are also on the jury panel. So coming to the other side now, what are the key points that you would look at in a candidate?
Okay. Okay, yeah. So with my experience, whatever I have been through in my journey, one thing that I've understood is I may not really look for talent. I have seen this myself. I may look for, just like Vaishali ma'am, put it forward, I will look for sincerity. How sincere and dedicated are you? How grateful, and that attitude of gratitude you hold in yourself. Because talent is something which is, like a woman's upper lip. It will just pop up, it'll just come from anywhere. But how much ever you may try to hide, but something that will take you ahead is how religious are you towards that talent or that skill that you have in you.
Right. So with that kind of funny analogy, we move on to the next question. Okay, so Mayank, like Mayank said, there are a lot of things that one has to take into account before you prepare your self for a competition. There's the mood board to be created, the model to be selected, your category that you have to finalize. So can we take on each of these and get your opinion on it? Vaishali, would you like to talk to us about how to decide which category works for you?
Yes, definitely. I think here is where your trainers or your guru's feedback come in the picture. So one is your own gut feeling, which I feel that, okay, you know what, I'm very good with long hair, or I'm good with up styles, I'm good with cuts, I'm good with something which comes to me. I think so. There, I need to start taking opinion of my teachers and find out what really. I mean, is it that what I think and they think is the same? Come to terms in there, and then you select your category. That's one. Second is, do you really like and can you do that endlessly? You know, sometimes I love doing up styles, is what I think. But if somebody tells me to do 15 up styles a day, I get irritated. You know, my tempo goes
Yeah.
off and then I don't want to do it. If that's my temperament towards a particular category, that's not what I need to then pick it up. I need to pick up which really, really is my passion. That in the sleep, I'm still doing the same thing and I don't get sleep till I get it perfect. So if I
Right.
have these things and then select my category, chances of us to fail is not much. I wouldn't say you wouldn't fail, but your chances of failure reduces drastically there.
Okay. Mayank, what would you like to add to the whole model selection process? How to select the right model?
See, so again, when it comes to model, it all depends on what look are you creating. So before selecting a model, what I try to do with my when I try to handle the situation is I've experienced it. If I try to select a model first before me creating my mood board or before I getting done with my desire, what sort of look I'm going to create, what happens is while I'm explaining, for an example, I get a model, I need to explain what exactly I'm doing. The model doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So I prefer is before selecting a model, get ready with your mood board. Then when you get your model, see, I always prefer is you should have two models ready. The one is the main model. The second, if some if suddenly the model ditches you, then what are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah.
It happened with me at the same time. So this is where it gets very difficult. So I would suggest everyone who wants to participate, make sure you have two models ready. One which is the main one. Second one is
Your back.
अगर नहीं चला तो
Yeah.
ऐसा. So I would say is that's one. Then looks. You have to try looks on the model because you have to even agree when it comes to model. Because normally when it comes to competitions, majority of the creative looks come when the hair is short or either when it's long, but depending on. But what I've seen is majority people tend to do short haircuts or the bob or pixie or very creative stuff there. But model again, the model has to agree, you to explain these things to the model. And वो look अगर model पे suit हो रहा है कि नहीं वो भी बहुत important है. अगर वो hairstyle उनको उन पे suit हो रहा है, is suiting her height, or is the look making her look more thinner or shorter or whatever it may be. So model selection में ये सब point ध्यान देना जरूरी है, especially is it looking good? I mean, her height matters a lot again. Her height matters a lot because the entire look, if for an example your model is, if you're making the look very big, then her body the look will make the body very thin. तो वो नहीं होना जरूरी है मेरे हिसाब से. तो practice करना है. The moment you get the model, practice the look, explain her, and one more thing is dealing with her. I mean, in the sense, many times model are very scared about कि मेरे बाल तो खराब नहीं हो जाए, क्योंकि जब कंपटीशन की बात आती है मॉडल्स को हमेशा लगता है कि हमारे साथ पे एक्सपेरिमेंट हो रहा है. वो ये नहीं जानते कि जो बंदा कर रहा है या तो वो नया भी हो सकता है या तो वो एक्सपीरियंस भी हो सकता है. तो मॉडल्स को ये सब नहीं पता. सो आई वुड प्रिफर व्हेन इट कम्स टू यंग टैलेंट, व्हेन इट कम्स टू समवन हु इज डूइंग इट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम और सेकंड टाइम, इवन फॉर द फोर्थ टाइम, गेट समवन सीनियर देन यू. क्योंकि जब कोई सीनियर हमारे साथ खड़े होता है तो वो मॉडल थोड़ा नॉर्मल और रिलैक्स फील करता है. आई वुड शेयर यू, इफ यू डोंट माइंड, आई वुड शेयर यू अ स्टोरी. Are you all okay with that?
Yeah, very quickly if you can.
Yeah, I can. So basically, the first time when I was handling a model, she was my client luckily, and she had very long hair. So the moment I saw her hair, and it was very thick, but she was the perfect model for my look. But it was very difficult for me to explain what I'm going to exactly do and what will be the quality, what's going to happen to her hair, and even the contract. We have to have a contract with her. Is it a money-based thing, or you're providing something to her? Even this plays a role. Unless until like a model आपकी friend है, so sometimes she settles with nothing. But if the model is a professional model, then they either ask money or something or the other. So इस time पे हमें senior बुलाना जरूरी है. Where I called my boss and I helped her, and she helped me with entire consultation where she was telling me, okay, ऐसे कर सकते हैं, we are there to handle. And I was new at that point of time, and I was doing it for the first time. My senior helped me with that. So I would just say senior को बुला के करोगे तो थोड़ा अच्छा रहेगा.
Right, that's a very valid point. Involve a senior so that all the technical aspects of dealing with the model are sorted and you're all on the same page. Shireen, can you throw some light on the whole issue with attitude that candidates need to have? I was in conversation with Patrick Cameron some time back, and he told me that one of the things that Indian hairdressers lack is the language barrier. So they're not able to overcome the language barrier. And when you're participating in a competition, you need to talk. You need to talk about your theoretical knowledge. You need to make a presentation about your look. So how can Indian hairdressers, young talent, overcome this?
Yes, so I mean, are you talking about participating on an international platform where they need
especially on an international platform? Yeah.
Okay. So see, I think that language should never deter your spirit as a person.
Right.
It's about your thought process and what you think and what you are from inside, which is reflected in words, which is called language. Okay. Yeah. If in your mind you think that I'm a Hindi speaker and I will not be able to talk in English and make blunders while trying to mix both the languages, rather speak in your mother tongue, feel confident, and maybe have a translator who will be able to translate it. But your body language, for example, when you're standing out there explaining your mood board related to your model who's standing next and explaining the whole thing, I mean, the confidence with which you talk, even in your own language, will show the judges that you are something and you have it in you. But you can definitely have a translator who will be able to explain what points you are mentioning. So I think language should never be, it's basically all in the mind. It's a mental block. It's not actually a barrier in that sense.
Right. What about your presentation skills?
Yeah, so that plays a very important role. Okay, so presentation also in terms of how you have made your entire mood board and how it exactly reflects what you want to explain, and how exactly the mood board has been also executed on the model plays a very, very important role. So you need to be well versed with sometimes PPT presentations, or how you put it across, because that makes your point very clear. Sometimes just by saying things don't get very clear, but people need to have illustrations, visual outlook towards what you're explaining to make your points more clear. So yes, that is a definite important thing that a person needs to have, especially if you're on a competition platform.
Right. Nikisha, can you take us through your journey when you were preparing for the World Skills competition? How was it like the first step? When did you start planning, and what made you choose the certain category?
Okay, so answering this question in a crispy way will be very difficult. So I might have to just, but I'm gonna try. So yeah, number one, I was not prepared for any competition. I wasn't even aware that there is any competition happening. So the
Okay.
only way I got to know about it was through my grandfather. So I don't know how many. I'm sure everyone knows. I belong to a family of hairdressers, fortunately or unfortunately, but I do. And they have this habit of picking up the young generation and throwing them into something, any competition, no matter what it is. So we may not even have the complete details, but they'll just give us a call and say, baby, tomorrow you have to reach at 8 o'clock at Asha Harian's Academy. Why? I don't know. What's going to happen? I don't know. So stuff like that happened. So similar episode. And one sad part here, what happened was I fixed a model at 8 in the evening that tomorrow morning we have to reach at XYZ position. And just like Sangam, Mayank
Right.
just mentioned, my model didn't turn up in the morning at 6 when I was gonna start driving. She said, "Oh, sorry, I got hungover and I was unwell and I went for a party. I can't make it." And my neighbor is a decently beautiful girl, so I just grabbed her from her bed and I took her to the competition to Asha Harian's Academy, and ma'am was there. And yeah, so the competition happened. Now the part of choosing my category, I didn't have that option, honestly speaking, because World Skills, if people know, it's about everything.
Right.
You need to know hair cutting, you need to know coloring, you need to know upstyling, you need to know barbering, everything. So I had to perform each module. Luckily we didn't have to do all the 9. It was India's first World Skills, so we did 6 modules. And cutting the long story short, we were top 10 from India, then top 3. When the top 3 happened, I was the gold winner. And then the most exciting part was we went to Pune, to Balewadi Stadium for our championship. I'm so upset that Vaishali ma'am's video is off right now. I want to see her face, because that episode was like India's first ever massive, huge competition happening at a stadium, and I was a part of it. And I think about 30 to 40 renowned hairdressers from our industry, from our fraternity, they came down to see us in the competition. And it was thrilling. It was thrilling. I think World Skills is amazing. It just perfects you in every category to some extent, and also tells you which one is your love.
Yeah. Great. So that was quite a start for your experience of entering competitions. Especially, I'm coming back to you. Um, how much of a professional training or working on the floor is required from a hairdresser before they decide to enter a competition?
I think that's a no negotiation actually, because how much ever we learn in a school, if we don't have a live experience of handling clients, it doesn't mean, I don't mean to say that you have to be a working professional. You
Right.
can also be a intern with a salon, but you just need to really work with clients on floor. That helps you in the competition big time. So with my experience of taking 4 candidates for the competitions abroad, and two of them had on-field experience, and we could really make out their performance on field. You know, they knew how to handle situations. If something went wrong, how not to panic, how to really work on your timing. Everything really goes well. So I think on-floor experience is important. You could be an intern. We're not saying you have to be a working professional. You could be intern, but you still need to have a minimum of 3 to 6 months of experience on floor before you actually go to a final competition.
Okay. So that will kind of add to the strength that you bring to the table with that. Um, Can you tell me what is the prepping process like? Like once you narrow down on a candidate, what kind of inputs are required from your end as a mentor?
Okay. So, as a mentor, for any competition, once we've identified a candidate, definitely we look into their technical aspects of building their technical skills. So that's the first. No, I mean, everybody knows that technically we need to build a candidate up. So we build them technically through various trainers. So that what happens in this case is you learn different trainer styles. You learn to really work with different people. So that's important.
Right.
Second is their mental preparation. So there is a lot working on their psyche for a candidate, because mentally, you need to really be a good planner. Now, not everybody is born a good planner, so you really start working on how do they plan, what do they do. So we really need to work on their mental abilities there. So we most of us till now would have hired either NLP practitioners, or we would have hired somebody who can be like a counselor for them with us. We don't allow them to go for the sessions without we knowing what's happened in the session, because sometimes it can be counterproductive for us, which we don't really want it.
Right.
And third, most important is to work on their lifestyle. Because if they're very young, I mean, if they're young, we really don't want to pay attention to what we eat, when we sleep, what we drink, what we do.
Yeah.
But when you're going on the competition floor, all this will come up there, because you're under stress. In the international competition scenario, you're working in another country where you're not going to get what you're used to. So you need to have some things built up from before. So you need to have work on your food, your diet, your nutrition there, because that really plays a big role in handling stress, and
Yeah.
definitely your fitness. So these are few things as a mentor that we start working with this person. And trust me, a mentor actually lives with the candidate. If you ask, I am sure Shireen will
Yeah.
agree to this. We actually live with the candidate. I think we live, breathe, eat with them, because
Yes,
we
Shireen, what would
exactly know every minute of what they're doing. I mean, that's how it builds, because then you can really work on their mental abilities. I think that helps big time.
right? Shireen, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, so I mean, Vaishali has been through it, and she's been working very closely, with World Skills. So she has actually listed out all the three things that we need to really work on. It's basically the mental, the physical, and the technical aspects of a candidate. So I think she's very well worded it, and she's covered up all the points. So it's basically the overall development of that individual that we are looking at for a competition.
Yes. So apart from technical training to be sound technically, it is also required that they are mentally and physically able to handle the stress and the entire experience. As far as I understand, competitions also involve standing around for a long time, handling your tools and equipment. So, how much is physical health really important for this?
uh, it's very very important. Okay, so that is why, since you need to be physically fit, you need to eat right, and nutrition plays a very significant role, which most candidates forget. And anyways, youngsters nowadays are more into junk food and stuff like that. So we need to really educate them as mentors right from the starting, to eat healthy, eat right, and eat at the right time, because timings also matter. Your body's level of absorbing food at a particular point is highest, like in the afternoon, your engine, your digestion machine is at its highest, so it will absorb, digest, assimilate whatever you can. So eat good amount of food in the afternoon. So the portions vary, the nutrition has to be well balanced. Okay, so that
Yes.
plays a very important role in making you strong, healthy individuals, and that will also reflect on your mental abilities. Because if you have deficiencies of vitamins, again your concentration levels will go down while you're working. So it is all interconnected. Okay, and while you're working and standing for hours, you need to be in very comfortable footwear. Okay, you can't be wearing heels or any sandals or anything. Wear very comfortable sport shoes which can, take the weight and give you that cushioning in your heels and your feet, and make you feel comfortable, because all your stress points again are all on your feet,
Yeah.
all the body parts. So they are again getting comfort, and you're feeling more relaxed. So I think, yes, we need to be very physically strong to take those long hours of standing while we are practicing for days on, for months on. Like for OMC trainings and all, we have seen people, who and actually international candidates who work for like a year on one particular hairstyle to finish it in a particular time frame on a competition floor. So we need to learn to practice a lot for long hours.
Right. Mayank, you were already working on the Sarah floor when you decided to participate in a competition. So how did you balance preparing for the competition and your work?
So firstly, what I did was the moment I got to know about the show, which was at that point of time, it was happening in April, and I came to know during January.
Yeah.
So the first thing I decided was I didn't start my preparation directly. I worked on my mood boards and stuff, which was I used to work in the evenings after my time, which I used to my after my what do I say
Yeah.
my shift
No shift.
after my shift. So that was one. So I used to just work at my home because if you want to make sure your mood boards are ready, you can everything nowadays everything works on internet. Google, you can just do. You don't have to actually waste your while you're working on you don't have to waste those time. You can utilize by working skills by creating or do whatever you want to at that point of time. The main part when it starts is after a month once you've done with your preparation of your mood board and everything, then is when you have to actually start managing your time and your work at the same time, because it shouldn't come on your business.
Right.
That's very important, because you don't want, I don't want my boss to be like, okay, prepare to kar raha hai, but your business is going somewhere, and
Yeah.
it'll affect my salary at the same time and the business at the same time, which I normally don't do that. So what I did was I used to work either come early in the morning, like if my shift used to start at 11 o'clock, I used to come by 10:30 or sometimes 9:30 because of my academy or something. And then I used to work. Then I used to practice from morning 9:30 to 11 o'clock. I used to practice. Then my shift used to start by 11:15. Then from 11:15 to 8 o'clock, I used to stay. Then either I used to ask permission from the manager, can I just practice before once I'm done with my work, or the moment I'm done with one client, I used to just go to the academy and I used to practice. So I used to not waste my time in the mid. If I used to get at least like half an hour or 1 hour in the mid, I just used to put my practice time. Or I just started using watching videos on YouTube. I used to, ask my seniors, talk to my seniors, go through magazines. So these were the things what I was doing, and I was trying as much as possible not that my that the competition thing shouldn't affect my job. So I should just work, adjust my hours. That's it.
Right. So from January to April, you actually stopped living and you were only working and preparing for your competition.
Yes, I was completely into it.
Yes, so that is the kind of dedication that is required if you want to enter and even think of winning a competition. No compromise on work and no compromise on your efforts. Nikisha, how did you maintain the balance between creating a really innovative, creative look and at the same time making it very relevant and practical?
Okay. So creating, I think my forte, if I have to mention here, I would like to mention that since I've tried everything, what I love doing is editorial.
Okay.
Somehow when I'm creating looks, I end up making it, I like the way Vaishali ma'am rightly said that having an eye to the detail part. So even if I'm trying to create a very finesse look, yes, I can do that, but I somehow know how to tweak it into something, uh, like change a little something into it and make it editorial. So somehow giving it that touch is something that I really it really helps me to strike that balance. Basically, can make a look from commercial, so creating a beautiful commercial look where she can go out for a wedding or for anything, and just with a little change into that, I change it into an editorial or a runway ramp look. So that's the balance that you get only when you have that little eye for it, that okay, I have to just lift this tail up and post it here and it's gonna be doing the work. So yeah.
Tell me something, is when you decide upon one category for your competition, does that mean that you can ignore other aspects of it? I'll give you an example. Like if you are participating in the color category, Does it mean that you need not bother with the cut or the styling?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this is like the, I mean, this is where presentation comes into picture, right? It's
Right.
like, yeah, when there are, imagine, just imagine before you are going onto the floor, just imagine that you are 40 people, 40 participants, and you are on numbers 35, you know. If you've just done the hair color beautifully, the cut is not in the right place, whereas your cut and color has to be synced in really well.
Yeah.
They really have to have a chemistry, you know, like they have to, the color enhances the cut, basically. It's like the cut does the same to the color. So, and plus the styling, they all go hand in hand, so it has to be done correctly. That is one.
Yeah.
You also need to look at the other aspects such as makeup. Just because you've entered a hair competition, you also need to make sure that your skin is at least decently presentable, your outfit garment is done well, your nails are decently presentable. So when you do that, there is, you know, sometimes what happens, maybe you are maybe you are you've done a fantabulous job and a beautiful created look, you've created a very nice look, but then you've gotten the silver position and not the gold, because the other guy not only did a fantabulous job, but he also presented his model beautifully. So
Yeah.
you missed out on that gold because of that one wrong point. So it's very
It's the
important.
complete package. You need to look at
Complete package.
makeup, nails, the
Yeah.
fashion element, everything put
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I also will add that don't get diverted, don't get distracted, don't totally jump into the makeup only, or know what is the main part. Yeah.
yeah. So it has to be a balance where your hero remains the hair or whatever hairdo or hair color you've done, and the other elements just add on to it. Great. Shireen, what would you like to say to people who have been entering competitions, winning perhaps, and now want to mentor themselves, like how Nikisha has traversed this journey. You yourself have done this. So for aspiring mentors, do you have any piece of advice?
Yeah, so it becomes even more easier to understand the psyche of our students, who are into the competition floor, to understand them better, because we have gone through that whole journey of being a competitor ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, so the connection and the relation that we develop with that particular contestant also matters a lot, because sometimes it's nice when we professionally teach them, technically we are there on the floor teaching them all the rules, regulation, the skill work, everything. But sometimes there is a moment in time when they're frustrated, they're losing it, because sometimes when we are practicing a style there are days in which it will just not sit right, and they are
Yeah.
so frustrated and bogged down. And if you have maintained that relationship with that contestant, and you are able to get to that emotional level and connect and boost the spirit of the contender, then he'll be able to push himself further and come out with better results with his work. So
Yeah.
being through this whole journey helps us understand and have that better connect with our contestants. So
Yeah.
it makes us better mentors in the long run.
Uh, right. So I think it's more than the candidates, the mentors need to have a lot of patience. And specifically to your journey, you have been participating in so many competitions. What would be your key takeaway from your experience?
I always feel participating in so many competitions. I have, Vaishali ma'am said that, participating means you have to have the winning spirit. That
Yeah.
is definitely there. I mean, you have to have it in you, the fire in your belly, okay, to fight it out. But honestly, for me, I always entered a competition never to win in that sense. That if I am a loser, so that fright of losing was never there. So I went there telling myself that I'm going to be rock on and I'm just going to enjoy myself on the floor and whatever it may be. Even what happens is sometimes when you look at other contenders and the models and the way they've dressed up, even before the competition starts, you start getting nervous because there's a comparison in your mind
Yeah.
mentally, which bogs you down and which already has a negative impact on you. And that is definitely going to affect your work on the floor. So rather just focus on your work totally without getting distracted with anybody else on the floor, and just get going, with your work. And so that is what I have learned, that losing The fear of losing should never be something that brings you down or makes you lose in a competition. Go with the winning spirit, but just tell yourself, yeah, I mean, if I lose at all, I lose. I have not lost, the war. It's just a battle that I've lost. So there are many more that we can overcome and fight. So hey, come on, give a pat on your shoulder and get going. So through my journeys of competitions, I have not only won, I have lost. So my losing has been my learning points and turning points, because I never learned to give up. I was always dedicated. I was always at it, always going. And then there was a time where I again started winning competitions. So, the determination to keep going and never be afraid of losing. That is the key thing of winning.
Right. Yeah. It's your attitude that matters. Vaishali, would you have any advice for aspiring mentors here?
Uh, Yes, one point here, I really agree with what Shireen said on the mentors, but one point I would want to say is that, to become a mentor is a big change in mindset.
Yeah.
It's very easy to keep yourself motivated to do better and better because everything is in your control. But just to get your mentee doing something the way you want it, it's not an easy job. It's a huge mindset change which is required. So you're going to make somebody better. You're going to work on somebody. That mindset change needs to come in. Important is as a mentor, never compare and say, you know what, I used to do this. Yeah, but you were different and your mentee is very different.
Yeah.
So give that person that much of time, space, so that the person really grows. You have to see your mentee growing, and rather, that's the most toughest job as a mentor, that you need to make them better than what you are or you were. You can't be making them like you, but you have to make them better than you. That's the toughest job of a mentor. But I think if we can succeed in that, and I'm sure our young generation really understands this far, far better than us. I can tell you, I mean, I'm not saying that we are old. I don't mean to say that we're old here, but yes, I can tell you our generation probably would be holding on to things much longer. We really have held on to things much longer, but the younger generation now really knows how to give it to the others faster. I
Right.
think they will really become good mentors. But yes, have patience and don't get that into your head that, you know what, now I'm a mentor for somebody. Once you get that into the head, I think that's the downfall there.
Yeah.
The irony is on this platform, all three of you have been through competitions. I haven't been through competition. And trust me, when I started my journey, my professional journey, I was never a competing person. I did not like competitions. But yes, I was always into understanding a human psychology, when it goes and how does it develop in different situations. And I realize it develops the best under competition. And probably that's where I've got hooked on to competition for the last, this is my 9th year now. So I think that's where it really makes a difference. I think you develop the most when you are under pressure, and positive pressure. And I think competition is a positive pressure there.
Yeah.
Right. That's very well put, Vaishali. Now, we have been discussing all the do's that are required from candidates and mentors. Can we quickly sum up all the don'ts, things that we should not be doing if you're considering participating in a competition or mentoring somebody? Nikisha, would you like to start? What are the things
Yeah.
that you should not do?
Not do when you're entering a competition.
Yeah.
Yes, so number one, I think what you should not do is not take your health for granted. Number
Right.
one,
Right.
topmost, don't take your health for granted, because you're entering into a championship mentally and physically, both ways. You need to be fit, so take care of that. Keep a record of what you're eating, what not. Luckily in WorldSkills we have mentors, so I had Asha ma'am who would keep a note of cucumber or tomato what's going into my belly, even that minute detailing. So yeah, you that needs to be taken care of, number one. Number two, a big no is to be scared of making yeah, I think the fear of losing, basically having that thought that I might lose. That is so I always put it in this way, that the slogan that I have prepared for myself is, if you win, have the attitude of gratitude, and if you lose, just become the cool dude. कि मैं तो बस देखने आया था, मैंने पार्ट नहीं लिया कंपटीशन में. No, I'm kidding. So if you lose, there is a saying that it's not about how hard you've been hit. What people want to see is, did you stand up again and come back? So that attitude needs to be there. So what you should not do is not already tell yourself कि यार इसने पार्ट लिया है, मैं कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं, ये तो इसकी बेटी है, ये तो उसका बेटा है. Don't do that. Just have self confidence in and believe in yourself and go ahead. So no taking your health and mental state for granted, and lastly, not thinking that you're not good enough. That thing should not be there. Of course, you should be open to learning. You should know that what are your loopholes, and you need to get that fixed with your mentors, obviously. But don't think that I'm not good enough. Don't let that come into your mind.
Cool. Mayank, what would you like to add to this? What are the don'ts
Yeah.
of mine?
The don'ts would be, the first thing I would always say is, last moment तक wait ना करो. अगर 4 महीने बाद कंपटीशन है तो ऐसा ना करो कि 1 महीने पहले हम लोग पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे या स्टार्ट करेंगे, या मैं अपने आप को 1 महीने पहले मोटिवेट करूंगा और फिर 1 महीने बाद हो जाए. No, that's not going to happen. So वो ना करो तो अच्छा है. Then I would say is don't underestimate yourself. स्टार्टिंग से ही अगर आपको लगता है कि मेरे से होगा ही नहीं, क्योंकि कई बार I normally tend to tell everyone that participate as much as possible. मेरे फ्रेंड्स हो गए या मेरे स्टाफ हो गए या फिर जो भी हुए, मैं ट्राई करता हूँ कि लोगों को पार्टिसिपेट, क्योंकि उससे ही हमें आगे बढ़ने का ये मिलता है. यू गेट मोर कॉन्फिडेंट. द पीपल फॉर सम टाइम माय कॉलीग who's not so motivated sometimes, or who's very low, डर लगता है छोटी छोटी चीजें डिसीजन लेने के लिए. आई वुड से I push them कि चलो करो ये चीज, ये चीज करना जरूरी. You have to motivation has to be there. कभी कभार मोटिवेशन शायद से पहले नहीं आता है, वो मोटिवेशन स्टार्ट करने के बाद अचानक से आ जाता है. तो मोटिवेटेड रहना बहुत जरूरी है इस एंटायर थिंग के लिए. एंड अगेन आई वुड से इज स्टार्ट प्लानिंग. एज आई सेड, लास्ट मोमेंट तक वेट करने की जरूरत है ही नहीं किसी चीज के लिए. हमें पहले ही प्लान करना है, मेंटली भी और फिजिकली भी. यस, आई एग्री विद एवरीवन कि फिजिकली भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि you have to start building up your mind, क्योंकि winning is something where it's not about overnight होने वाला चीज, वो सभी को पता है. You have to plan, and then my boss always say एक होता है जो you have not heard about this called Vela Trend Vision. So
Yes.
normally long ago I participated in one of my mentors with Trend Vision, and हम लोग ने ब्रॉन्ज जीता था. बट मुझे उस पूरे ट्रेंड विजन में मुझे पता चला कि कितना मेहनत लगता है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट करना, इसमें कितने सारे की पॉइंट्स होते हैं, और वही की पॉइंट मैंने अप्लाई करके मैंने मेरे सेकंड, जब मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम पार्टिसिपेट किया था एज अ कैंडिडेट, तो तभी मैंने अप्लाई करना ये किया. तो अगेन आई वुड से काफी सारे पॉइंट्स है जो हमें ध्यान देने जरूरी है. लाइटली ना लो तो अच्छा है. एंड आई वुड से शेयर, लोगों को शेयर करने से डरो मत. कंपटीशन अगर दिमाग में आता भी है, फॉर एन एग्जांपल देयर आर मेनी पीपल हु से कि क्यों कर रहा है, क्या जरूरत है, अपने फ्लोर पे तो खुश रह सकता है, ये सब जरूरत नहीं है. नेगेटिव पॉइंट जो दूसरे के पास से आते हैं, तो कर नहीं पाएगा या तेरे से हो नहीं पाएगा, या मैंने ट्राई किया था पर मेरे सक्सेस नहीं हुआ, तो तू भी शायद से नहीं हो सकता है. ये सब ना रखो तो अच्छा है. ये सब माइंड में नहीं आना इज अ गुड थिंग, राइट?
So keep negativity at bay and just believe in yourself.
Just believe in yourself.
Right.
Most important.
Shireen, what would you like to add to this? What are the don'ts that come to your mind?
As a mentor?
Yes, as a mentor.
I think that every contestant has their own ability and capacity of excelling and putting in their best. So don't measure them with your scale of expectations. Measure them with their scale of capacity and capability.
Right.
So once that happens, they will have the expressive freedom to explore, and actually they will come out as better contenders, because we have so much, we are all unique creations of God, and we have so much in us that if we just allow that creativity to flow in without too much of pressure, it actually flows in more beautifully and in a loud way. So I think that's very important. Second most important thing is, I have participated in HBS and Style Speak competition, so wherein I have students who come to me, for training. prepare me for a particular look, for a particular competition, for a particular category. So I feel that as a mentor, I should not be preparing them and giving them a ready-made look. You know, for a red carpet look, I just give them and prepare that this is the look and this is the winning look and go for it. No, let the minds think, let them think, and you just be instrumental in developing those points, you know, and guide them in the right direction of the do's and don'ts and what you need to do and know. So give them techniques as a mentor rather than actually just giving them a particular look. That is not going to help them grow. Those particular techniques are going to help them create 10 more other looks. So that will help them grow as a better competitor, you know. And
so rather than giving them a ready-made look, you need to teach them how to achieve that.
Exactly. And last but not the least, I think a mentor or a judge has to be very, very neutral. We have our own biases and judgments, you know, everything put together. We have to put all our emotions aside and be very neutral and fair towards our competitors. You know, in terms of loving them and giving them our technical skill work and everything, the training that we give them, we need to be real neutral mentors. That's what I think.
Right. Vaishali, can we have your don'ts as well?
Yeah. So one of the thing which I would say is don't go without a plan. You know, generally we just have a plan A, but don't go without a plan B or a C also. Because you need to really plan for a contingency also. You don't know what could go wrong. You don't know what circumstances will come in. So as a mentor, please train your mentees to have your plan A, B, C. Don't go without it. And most important, just elaborating to what Shireen just said, you know, have a common goal set with your mentee. So don't go with your goals. You know, sometimes we would say, you know, I'm targeting a 80, but that's my goal.
Yeah.
My competitor might not even agree to that. And she would feel that, okay, you know what, I'm targeting a 75. So we both don't have a same vision there. Then there is no way we could achieve something. So go with a common goal. Don't go without, I mean, don't have your own thoughts and ideas. And most important, I know this is a little shocker for most of them, is to say that, you know, don't be a friend to your competitor. You're not a friend. You are a guide to them. When you become a friend, you know, you break all barriers there. And breaking all barriers sometimes is not a very good idea. You know, you should be approachable for sure. You know, they should feel comfortable to come and talk to you, you know, discuss their problems. No problem with that. Any problem on earth they can come, but if you start becoming their friend, and then it becomes an issue when it comes to competitions, because sometimes we as mentors have realized that we need to exercise superiority, and that gets into a clash with somebody. I'm sure as mentor, we've all had our own share of having bad mentorship done. You know, either we've had a bad mentor or we've been a bad mentor in one or two cases. And I think that's the learning which we come from. So I know most of the people will say you should become a friend to your mentee, but I would say don't be so close as a friend. You should be a guide to them. Be open, all that okay, but not a friend to them. A friend, let them have a friend outside this relation, not in this one.
Okay, those are really valid points. Now I will, before we wind up this session, I want to ask a very practical question from the three of you, Nikisha, Mayank, and Shireen, because you guys are working on the floor. Do participating in competitions or winning them affect the kind of work, the kind of clientele you get in the salon? Shireen, would you like to take that first?
It actually depends on how you perceive it. Because for me, I have lost competitions. I have won competitions, but losing competition has not actually decreased the number of clients in my salon. Whenever I've lost a competition, the next day when I go to a salon, because the client comes back and says, hey, what happened? You had participated. Did you win? And I very smilingly say, no, maybe next time, better luck next time. You know, so it's your approach towards a particular situation that determines the reaction of the other person. So if you are positive about losing, then the other person still instills that confidence in you, you know, and has it that, no, I mean, she's still a good hairdresser. I mean, she must have lost it for XYZ reasons, but that doesn't still make her a bad hairdresser. So losing definitely doesn't make you lose out on your clients for sure, because it's your attitude and approach towards it. But winning definitely adds on and brings in more clientele. That's for sure.
Right. Mayank, have you experienced it?
Yeah, I've experienced it. So the time I went won HBS again, there were so many things happening. They were like there was a vast range between my clientele and the way they were seeing looking at me. Because the time I actually the time I participated, I was like a junior most hairdresser in that entire floor, and then I won the show, and then the way the client used to look at me, and they used to see the trophy there, and they used to be like, "Ye kiska hai?" So there were so many things happening. There are good points about it, and about I won't say the kharab hi milte. Again, I lost. Again, I have lost. I participated in a show and I didn't get selected. I didn't get selected and all that stuff. But again, clients, the moment you win or lose, the clients know that you are a person who actually, tends to do these participating things continually. You tend to participate a lot.
Yeah.
And clients को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Basically, clients are like, they're happy. They're happy that you're participating. They're happy that, they know कि, आपके पास वो है जो, या लड़का या लड़की जो भी है वो मोटिवेटेड है थोड़ा. उसको अच्छा लगता है कुछ क्रिएट करना. कई बार क्लाइंट सपोर्ट करते हैं. क्लाइंट्स कॉल मी अप एंड से डिड यू विन और लूज, डोंट वरी, एवरीथिंग विल बी फाइन. ये काफी पॉजिटिव पॉइंट्स भी आते हैं. तो मेरे हिसाब से तो दोनों तरफ बैलेंस बना रहना जरूरी है, और बैलेंस बना रहता है इसी चीज में. तो अच्छा है.
Great. Nikisha, how was your experience?
Okay, so yes. So one fun part I'll add to this, which is a fact, and I do that, but I'll say that second. First is, does it affect? I'm actually, yes, I work on the floor and I do clients, but I'm also an educator. So I teach a lot of students and in different academies and in my own academy. And when you're a trainer, when you're an educator yourself, you obviously become somebody people look up to.
Yeah.
They're watching you. Oh, ma'am has gone for this XYZ competition. Is she going to lose? Is she going to win? When you win, of course, it's like an inspiration for them that, oh, I want to become like her. And if you lose, that becomes like a little thing that, oh, ma'am lost this, can I do it or not? That kind of question starts to pop up. So what I do in that case is, I'm a strong believer of this line. I always say that it doesn't matter when that you did the best look in 2014 in Frankfurt on the competition floor, which I just did and I came, for example. What matters is, what did I do 1 minute ago, my last job? So when I come back, if I've lost a competition, I'll come back and I'll create that same piece with so much perfection or dedication. Now there is no time bound. Nobody's watching me. There's no judgment happening. I'll make it beautifully and I'll keep it there. And when people enter, they maybe for 1 second forget that I've lost a competition. They come in and they'll be like, oh, this is what you made. This is what you made. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's so stunning. And they start looking at the present moment, and they forget about what just happened 3 days ago, where you lost or you won. So I think that's how it really you tackle.
Right. So maintaining a balance is what the game is all about. So with this, we bring the session to an end. Thank you so much, guys, for participating in this and giving out such informative tips. I'm sure anyone out there who's considering participating in a competition will find it all the more motivating now. And I wish you all the best for the future competitions that you guys will be participating in. And we'll keep a watch on it, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Bye bye.